Hello crafty friends, in today's video I'm going to do a mixed media collage background that I'm going to then cut up and make into separate tags. This is just really about having fun with art and trying some new techniques. I really enjoy collaging, so that's why I'm starting with just the collaging. I'm using a lot of my scraps, just any bits that I'm finding lying around in my box or on my desk. It doesn't really matter about colors at this stage. I'm not fussed. I'm going to use all the colors that I have, but you could color code it if you are going to be making this for a specific project. The base paper I'm working on is roughly an A4 size, and it's actually a watercolor paper. You don't have to use watercolor paper. You could use cardstock or actually anything you have. It just needs to be something that's a little bit firmer than your regular copy paper. Even a piece of cardboard would work. And then I'm sticking everything down with Mod Podge. You could also use craft glue or gel medium or a glue stick. I'm just going to continue now with the collaging. If you find this relaxing and enjoyable, please feel free to watch. If not and you'd like to skip forward, please go forward to timestamp 2 minutes 26. Once all the adhesive is dry, I'm going to add a little bit of masking tape for some additional texture. I do this quite often in my mixed media and my collages. I do like the texture it leaves once it's covered with gesso or paint. So I'm just tearing some in half. I'm using some pieces whole, and I'm just putting it randomly over the edges of the little collage papers where they overlap. Now you could stop at this point and cut it up into tags, but I want to add some more layers on top. So I'm going to add some white gesso. I'm just going to apply it with my fingers, and I'm going to put it over sort of the joining of, or the overlapping of the different collage pieces. I'm not doing it in a uniform way. There's going to be some more concentrated areas, some lighter areas, and lots of blending. I like to give it what I call that misty look, where it just softens the whole background. You will see that I'm also using a baby wipe while I'm working with the gesso. While the gesso is still wet, you can use it to either wipe away additional gesso if you've made it too dark or have applied too much, or it also helps with blending. If you don't have gesso, you could get a similar effect using white acrylic paint. Once it's dry, I want to add a bright burst of color. So I'm using a stencil. I'm going to do some stenciling with some distress ink. This stencil is from Maremi's Small Art. I will put a link in the description below. And the ink I'm using is a Holtz product, and the color is called Abandoned Coral. So I'm just stenciling over the entire area. I'm not trying to cover every bit of the surface. It's just here and there to add a pop of color. And I'm using a blending tool. I would really love if you subscribed to my channel. Also hit the little bell so that you're notified every time I upload new content. I have tutorials, process videos, tips and tricks coming your way. And also watch out for my mini monthly giveaway. Every month in one of my videos, I will give away some of the handmade items that I have made in the video to 5 people, and I send that out as happy mail. I feel some of the areas of the ink are a little dark, so I'm just splashing some water on with my paintbrush, and then I'm using a tissue. I'm just pressing it gently on top, and it lifts some of the color and lightens it. To add some interest, I'm taking a black watercolor pencil where I'm dipping the point of the pencil in some water, and then I'm just going around some of the circles from my stencil, very roughly, not perfect, just very scribbly, just to sort of let them stand out a little bit and to add some definition and something a little different, so it's not all the monotonous spots throughout the page. And then I'm also going to lighten the entire page by adding some white splatter. For this I'm using the Dylusions ink in the white linen. I will put the details of all the products I use in the description below. I'm just using a small paintbrush that I'm dipping into the ink, and then I'm splattering randomly over the entire page. Once all the layers are dry, we're going to cut this into tags. Now, I'm not going to really measure how I'm going to cut it. I'm just going to sort of eyeball the sizing. Not every card has to be exactly the same, but it's up to you if you want to measure. So I'm just using my cutter, and I'm going to have to go with the cutter up and down several times because the card is quite thick with all the layers, and we will need a little bit of help with a scissors just to get through all the layers, but cut these into an even amount of tags. As I cut each one in half again, I do love to see which designs have landed onto which piece and which sections of the artwork are on each card. I think it's quite an exciting time, and I love to see all the variations and all the bits and pieces and how the colors combine. To get the tag corners even, I have a little bit of a cheat that I do. I use an existing ready-made tag that I just put onto the corners and then just trim it. So at least I know each one is exactly the same size and angle. Much quicker and easier than trying to measure everything. Unless, of course, you have a punch that can do this for you, which I don't, so I just use an existing tag. I'm also going to use the ready-made tag to measure for where I'm going to punch the hole. I want to put some ties on my tag, so I'm going to prepare those in different colors. I'm using something called seam binding. I think it's also known as Hug Snug or bias binding, which you can find in a haberdashery store. I've just cut it into pieces of the length that I think I will need for each tag, and then I want to color a certain amount with different colors. So I'm just putting them into a Ziploc bag and then applying the ink or the dye with some water, and then I'm just smushing it around to let the color blend. I have chosen colors that coordinate with the colors I've used on the cards, and I'm not making them all the same color. I'm making them different colors to add variation. For the coral color, I don't have a spray in that color. I only have the ink pad. So I'm just going to press the ink pad onto an acrylic block, add some water, and then just smoosh my seam binding onto that to pick up the color, and then just add some more water while it's in the bag. I possibly didn't need the acrylic block. I eventually realized that you can just press the ink pad directly inside the Ziploc bag, which is a little bit easier, and then just add water until you have enough color to cover all the ribbon or seam binding. And now I'm just going to lay them out flat so that they can dry. I'm just going to put them onto a scrap piece of paper. These don't need too long to dry. You can help them along with the heat gun, or you can leave them about an hour or so. Once they're dry, just put them to the side while we work on our cards. I'm going to add some stitching around my cards, also doing the bunching technique where I bunch up some thread, and I have a video of how I do that which I'll link below if you'd like to see more detail on how I bunch my thread and make it look messy like this. I really like the look of these, and the black string I think is really contrasting. I'm now just going to see which ribbon I'm going to add to which card. I'm trying to coordinate the colors a little bit with what is on the actual design, and then I'm going to go through and tie each one into a bow. I'm going to have these tags available for sale in my Etsy shop. I'll have the link to my Etsy shop in the description below. They will be available from Monday, the 6th of September 2021. Thank you so much for watching my video. I really hope you enjoyed it and that you were inspired to create your own tags or ephemera from a mixed media background. You can really have so much fun with this and do lots of different techniques and colors. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.